Hi, Aaron. How many people you can fit back?
Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Mayor Pro Tem Brown.
Here.
Councilman Bowman.
Here.
Councilman Schwab.
Present.
Councilwoman Terry.
Here.
Mayor Durham. Here. At this time, we have public comment. Your comments are limited to 5 minutes. We do have one tonight, Ed Held. Go ahead and step to the podium. If you could please state your name and address.
My name is Ed Held. I live at 123 West Car. Most of y'all don't know me, but I'm sure you know my house. I'm the guy that puts skeletons up every year.
Oh.
Just thinking through additions this year. I came to ask if the city council is going to do anything about snow removal. Living on car, they're down to a lane and a half, and I can't even get one of my cars out because of the snow. Snow's been piled up on both sides of the car. Every time I try to dig it out, it gets piled right back up on it. Nobody can park on the car anymore. There's drifts 4 or 5 feet high. I'm just glad that Teller County offices filed their parking lot, because right now there's 6 cars on people on the car that have to park over there because we can't even get to the road. That was my only question. I was going to keep it short and sweet tonight. I got
Mayor,
to,
you might have Steve address.
Yeah.
yeah.
Let Steve address your issue.
Okay.
Steve Dickmill, Public Works Director. We're trying to get there. We're planning on being there tomorrow, between being shorthanded, and we have not had a storm like this in I don't know how long. So we're
Shoveling, just get one car out and get my sidewalk.
Yeah. So we're trying to get to you, but just give us time.
You know about sidewalks.
I saw one, but that's not me doing that part.
Okay, because the city-owned house next to mine did. Never did clean their sidewalks up. First time I saw it there, it was this afternoon, the sidewalk flat.
Okay.
Even though next to my car, he didn't get it up, so I still got this.
He's having trouble getting around, so, and hopefully tomorrow we'll get stuff done.
Let me stop. I think we've addressed the issue. We can't let this keep going. So he's gonna get to it tomorrow. So, okay.
We're just having trouble.
Sorry.
All right, thank you. Approval of the meeting minutes from January 17th, 2024, Board of Adjustment meeting, and the January 17th, 2024 regular meeting.
Mayor, if I can make a correction, please, on the meetings for the Board of Adjustment. I did not open that meeting. So we can correct that, please.
Has everyone else had a chance to review the minutes? Okay. All right, reports, city
Oh, we got
minutes.
it.
I will make a motion
Oh, I'm
to
sorry.
approve the meeting minutes. With that correction. With that correction of the January 17th, 2024 regular meeting. I'll second.
Can I get a vote, please? Councilman Missionary?
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Brown?
Yes.
Councilman Bowman?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Sorry, I was a little ahead of myself. My bad.
It's okay.
Okay, now, reports, city administrator report.
I have a few things tonight, Mayor, if you'll bear with me. First, Captain Ryan Lohmeyer has served 20 years in the city as a firefighter. So he's not here, but the chief's here. Thank you, chief. Thank him for us. And I need Connie to come up and make a report to council. It's what you were gonna do, the sharp estate check. Don't act surprised. Okay, well, never mind. I'll
Oh, council. Connie Dodgel, Cripple Creek Parks and Recreation Director. This no, what day is it? Last Monday. We got a letter from the John Sharp State account, and he donated some money to the Cripple Creek Elks Club, to the Episcopal Church, to the museum, and to Parks and Recreation. It comes to be about $93,000. And in the conversation before is, we knew we had some money, but I had no idea how much. And it was kind of like, what's the need? And at the time, we were talking that we need a skate park fixed. So anyway, that's where I'm looking to start moving forward on maybe addressing and talking about the meetings and what we can do about it. But it was so weird. I got a call from American Ramp. I actually got an email that I opened it Monday before I was leaving out the door. And he's like, oh my God. And I'm like tucking it in my bag. I'm like, this is so exciting. And then so Tuesday we had a department head meeting, and I saw him right up there on my phone, that on my email, I had something from American Ramp. We've been going back and forth for probably 10 years, just trying to go, so how's it going? We don't have any money, not this year, sorry, blah, blah, blah. And they called me on Tuesday when I got back, and I was helping in the office, help cleaning things up. And it was them, and they're going, so how's it going? I'm like, well, we might have some use. I don't know, but we're going to be thinking about it. So anyway, they were able to give us a couple quotes, just what it would take to do the ramp. So anyway, we're trying to move forward if it happens. If not, I just wanted you guys to know about the great inheritance that we got with Parks and Recreation. I deposited. No, I deposited that baby that day, but it was.
Connie.
Yeah, who's the count?
You can have them Frisco right now, but I had to go through Parks and Recreation deposit. I wasn't gonna put it down here. I'm like, go through parking. That's my assets. You caught it. I learned from you. Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
And I was gonna have Jeff talk a little bit briefly,
Really briefly.
not as long as Connie, but about a minute and a half.
Exactly. So Jeff Moser, Special Projects Director. I just want to give you a quick update on where we are with the housing consultants and where we are in the affordable housing project that they're working with us on. So the city council you guys did decide to go with a nonprofit organization. We have identified 5 individuals that we think are going to be on that board. It is tentative right now. The consultants will reach out to each one of them and talk more about what their goals and responsibilities are going to be. Obviously, it's a little different because it's a brand new board, a brand new organization, so they're going to be responsible for kind of getting it up and running. We will be using templates from existing nonprofit housing boards to kind of use to review. Mayor Durham has decided she will be the representative for the city. On that, we have a representative from Community of Caring, and we have 2 citizen representatives as well. And then we have a representative currently from Newmont Mine that will be on that board as well. So we have a business representative, 2 citizens. One of those citizens has received a USDA grant on his home. So he's got some experience with going through that process and what that looks like for finance. The other is a English as a second language person, and that's going to be great for the diversity of that board, and also just paid off their home as well. So they've been in the community for 25 years or 27 years, and so they've got a vested in they've vested their time and money into the community and living here. So we think that's going to be a good representative as well. So all 5 board member positions are tentatively filled. And so we hope that after the consultants talk to them, they'll do an application process that we will use in the future. We'll stagger their start dates, their start years, so that we have a rotating group of board members there. So I just wanted to take you on where we're at there, and they're moving forward. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Those are my reports.
I'm just gonna backtrack for just a moment, and I think I told Connie this back in December. I had a fifth grader approach me and informed me that they were going to start a petition to get the skate park fixed. And so this is a really, it's really important for these guys. So this is just it's great that it worked out this way. So. It is.
Meant
Yeah,
to be.
absolutely. Hey, Finance Director.
Good evening, council. Just want to quick update. I sent you the December gaming numbers, and we're seeing a positive impact of ice castles continue. AGP was up 9.9%, which was huge. Beat Blackhawk and Central City, so we gained some market share. It's also had a positive impact on lodging tax and sales tax. So that was a really good month. So nice to have positive news for you. Thank you.
Votes, proclamations, and presentations. Proclamation proclaiming February 5th through 9th National School Counseling Week, and Sadie Miller is here from the CCB district, as well as Mr. Barker and Ms. Sanchez as support.
Hi, my name is Sadie Miller. Mayor Durham introduced me. First of all, I wanted to thank the council tonight for taking up this proclamation for National School Counseling Week. I'm going to introduce our counseling team. Two of our counselors don't live in this area, so they travel to get homes before the roads, which is awesome because that means Cripple Creek Victor School District is a destination for school counselors and for the being able to work for us. So Rachel Gray is our elementary counselor at Crescent, and she works with the primary kindergarten through 5th grade. Monica Sanchez, who is here with me tonight, is our general counselor at our high school. She is the one who probably meets the most students. Then we have Luke Chamberlain, who is our college and career counselor, and he helps our students with our post-secondary plan for getting them ready for the job force. And then for me, I am more of the program manager side, data side. I kind of help create the school counseling program for the district and for our students. And a little bit about school counseling. It has undergone some changes probably since we've all been in school. Before we used to be called guidance counselors, and that's kind of like a no-no word now for school counselors because we help close some gaps between the different, some different areas in achievement, so test scores, grades, or attendance we can help with, and then discipline, so getting those behavior incidences down. We spend a lot of our time in direct and indirect services with our students. We work counseling, do consultation with staff members, collaboration with staff, and we teach different programs. We use Second Step for social emotional learning, and that runs kindergarten to 8th grade. For our career exploration, we use programs such as Zello and Eureka. And then here's some just fun statistics because I love data. The ASCA ratio is, and ASCA stands for the American School Counselor Association, which all of the counselors are members of. That's our national organization. That is where our ethic codes come from, our program guidelines, everything. It's kind of, if you've ever heard of like the APA for psychologists, it's that for school counselors. So the ASCA ratio should be about 250 students to one school counselor. Last year around the United States, it was about 385 to one counselor. In Colorado, we were able to bring that down to 261 to one counselor. At Crescent, we are way under that, which is super awesome. We are 131 to one counselor. And then at the high school, we are super lucky. We are 168 to 3 counselors, and 2 of those positions are grant funded. And so we are super lucky that our district has invested into our students. And just some fun events that we have done this week. Yesterday, our staff members got some popcorn to put into the counselor's office to talk about any of the issues that they may have seen. Today, it was fine, the counselor, they each got a little photo of us in their pocket, and so staff members went around and asked, do you have a counselor in your pocket? And at the end of the day, they received a cute little prize from us. And tomorrow, all of our students are going to receive a little Tootsie Pop when they come to school that looks like a microphone for rocking with the counselors this week. And our staff members are going to have a gratitude station to write thank you letters to our staff, students, whoever kind of sparks their mind. So I just wanted to thank you guys again for allowing me to present and for you guys to read the proclamation and declare the National School Counseling Week.
Speak firsthand to the incredible value that our counselors add to the district, and thank you for that. And as a result, I am honored to read the following proclamation. Whereas school counselors are employed in public and private schools to help students reach their full potential. And whereas school counselors are actively committed to helping students explore their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents as these traits relate to career awareness and development. And whereas school counselors help parents focus on ways to further the educational, personal, and social growth of their children. And whereas school counselors work with teachers and other educators to help students explore their potential and set realistic goals for themselves. And whereas school counselors seek to identify and utilize community resources that can enhance and complement comprehensive school counseling programs and help students become productive members of society. And whereas comprehensive developmental school counseling programs are considered an integral part of the educational process that enables all students to achieve success in school. Therefore, I, Mayor Annie Durham, do hereby proclaim February 5th through 9th, 2024 as National School Counseling Week. And Sandy and I are going to do a very quick photo op, so bear with us just one moment. Thank you so much. Next we have Elks Club presentation.
Good luck.
Hope he brought his gun.
Don't shake it, buddy. Yep, the applause. We'd like to present the police department and the shelter with a check for $225.
Okay. Come on, there we go.
Thank you very much. There you are. Keep coming up. Again, got the elk squads. We hold our pancake breakfast at the law at your fire station, talk their days and whatnot. And, all you do for us, we'll present you with a check, $1,000.
That's fine, guys.
Thank you very much. We're gonna use it for something for you.
Yeah, glad to do it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay. New business, agenda item A. Consider approval to commit to a local match in the amount of $102,400 in the fiscal year 2024-2025 for partial construction of a transit maintenance facility at Schweitzer.
Mary's here.
Oh, Mary, okay.
I'm Mary Wagner from Transit, and I'm here for Ted Schweitzer. Mr. Schweitzer's at a transportation conference this week. So I'm here to request a go-ahead on our Cripple Creek Transit bus and streetcar operation storage facility. Now, this is not for money today. This is for a go-ahead to keep going and continue to accept grants. The Colorado Department of Transportation, CDOT, and the Division of Transit and Rail, the DTR, they have received and evaluated our applications. The proposed awards have been approved or partially approved. And the awards are for 409,600, and the local match would be 102,400 to come about in 2024 and 2025. Now, the total would be $512,000. This $512,000 will be the local match for the total grant of 2.05 million. This is a match for a match for a match. This grant for grant will give us money to go forward. The Triple Creek Transit is on the CDOT Transportation Planning Region Award. This is a 10-year plan. We're on this plan. I've been here for going on 7 years. Plan every year we get a little bit more. Every year we write for grants, and the grants aren't just a piece of paper we hand in. We do these over and over and over, like half a dozen times or more, and we tweak them and get them right so that we get the rewards with the awards. Okay. The grants provide for our admin and operating expenses, our equipment, and other accounts. Mr. Ted Schweitzer has traveled to other communities with similar facilities that we're getting here in Cripple Creek. And he's engaged with the CDOT personnel and involved with the transit folks at the federal level with tours and visits to Cripple Creek from the Federal Transit Administration and Ted's recent visit to Washington, D.C. Mr. Schweitzer is a resource to other transit agencies throughout Colorado, and he gives of his talents freely, and we're all wonderfully and divinely compensated. This transit project is a welcome enhancement to the city of Cripple Creek. Do you have any comments, questions, concerns?
I've just got a couple questions. On the letter attached from CDOT, the specifics for using the money is design of the new transit streetcar operations. Paul, haven't we already paid for that? Isn't that what that big work session about 2 years ago was? Or is there further design that needs to be completed?
The first building grant was $50K. So this adds on to this, and they're trying to build, where he said, using grant dollars at the next level. So this is part of the design phase, and it's talking with Ted, he didn't think it would happen until 2025. So we would be building that budget. You would see a revenue line item from CDOT for that 409,600, and then an expense line item for that 512. So essentially, by doing this evening, you're committing that 102 plus K in the city's fund balance towards that project. So on the 2024 financials, when those are done, we would show our fund balance and part of that being reserved for this project. Then in 25, we would build those numbers in. But it is more engineering design work that once it's completed helps you then get up to the higher $2+ million budget. And it's stacked on top of that. I think we're finally building number between 8 and 10 right now. And that's just that transit component of it. They hope to go on and have that other space in the building, and then they would look at the actual electrical line or control.
Okay.
So is the design part of this has already been started?
Yeah,
It's, in
that
process.
50K, didn't do a lot. It was more like looking at the site piece, because it's federal dollars involved. They have to do one of those NEPA studies where they look at all the different impacts. So that kind of went to the start of it. This gets you more, I think, after this, you might have some architectural kind of renderings to look at in further detail. But even that amount may or may not do all the final design work.
Like Mary said, the 512 eventually will be used to match the over 2 million And then the 2 million, if it can, will match 10. And then the 10 would probably help start the bus facility, which is what this says, transit bus facility design. Is what it's going to. So it's going to be in phases, the bus facility first, then the parking office building, and then eventually the rail trolley system. So total was 80 or 90,000, last number we saw. Billion, maybe 8 or 9 million. So. Anyway, staff recommends.
I know Ted does a great job with these grants. He's wonderful. Where's, I'm sorry, where was the location? Is it below Gold? Yeah. Yeah, that land, city on the other side. Okay. And one thing that's kind of slowed it up a little bit, there was a lot of turnover at CDOT. They got a new head person, they lost a lot of their senior people, and that head person left, so they're kind of rebuilding these programs, so it's slowed down some of these projects such as that.
You know, since COVID, there's been a big turnover. You know, I've seen 4 different mayors, seen 4 different city managers and council changes too. And we, Ted has presented the program over and over again. And so many people are aware of it, and it'll be a real asset to the community.
Make a motion to approve to commit to a local match in the amount of $102,400 in the fiscal year 2024-2025 for partial construction of the transit maintenance facility.
I'll second.
Vote please. Councilor Schwab,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown,
Yes.
Councilor Terry,
Yes.
Councilman Bowman,
Yes.
Mayor Brown, yes.
Thank you.
Might let Ted know he's got to sign this tonight, send it to you, see that tomorrow, so it's. Yeah, I don't think he's on, so you know what, I can text him.
Agenda item B, first reading to consider approval of ordinance 2024-01, amending several sections of the municipal code. Alicia Garcia.
So I'm the assistant city attorney. I'm Karen's associate. So we've been working on preparing new, revisions to the city ordinance. And you'll see in the packet, there's a memo which provides, it sets forth the, sections, and the chapters or different sections that we are revising in a little blurb underneath it. And then in the back of the ordinance, in the back of that memo, you'll see our red line ordinance. And our changes are in red, blue, and purple. The different coloring is just because of the Microsoft Word. It's not, doesn't mean anything. They're all the changes that we recommend. And we're happy to answer any questions that you have. Chief Ray or I.
Yes, I can start, but some of the changes were proposed by Paul Howard. He's our municipal court prosecutor. And one of the things he was recommending, a lot of our codes had jail time for a code violation. And he said what that requires is if the person doesn't have the money, they have to hire an attorney. We have to hire them a defense attorney, and they could even go so far as to request a jury trial, which is more cost to the city. He said a lot of cities have done away with the jury side of, the jail time with their municipal codes, and they just have fines. So that was one of the things that took a while to do, is go through and scrub all of that out of the ordinance. And then some of the other changes are issues that the chief, this started, I guess, a year and a half ago, where the councils said we need to look at our ordinances. A lot of the ordinances have issues. They're old and we're not actually, they need to be amended. They need to be changed, brought up to date. So the chief asked if he could be first, and this has gone on for a while. Well, Alicia's been working on this, and it seems like every time she sends us a final, we catch other things, we send them back, say, well, how about this? So this has gone on for a few months.
Yeah, I'd say a couple months.
Yeah. Back and forth, so we hope we've addressed the issues, Chief, you wanna, and this is first reading, so there's still time for y'all to look over it if you see things. We've got it published, so we'll hold a public hearing at the next meeting, but even at that, once you hold a public hearing, you don't have to approve it at that time. If you still have issues, you can postpone action on the ordinance until you're comfortable with the wording, but we went ahead and published for the second, your next council meeting to have the public hearing, so.
Under Article 4, grass, weeds and brush, section 7-4-20, declaration of a nuisance. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It reads, any grass, weeds, or brush found growing in any lot or tract of land in the city is hereby declared to be a nuisance. That eliminates anybody having a lawn, any vacant lots.
12 inches in height.
It doesn't say it in that section. That needs to be clarified. It does clarify it, the next section, 7-4-30, under duty of property owner.
Basically, you went too quick, and not everybody followed.
So page 11,
Yes, right.
page 11, article 4.
So what's your question, Essie?
Well, as it reads right now, it says we can't have any grass anywhere in the city.
So if you go back to the definition of grass and weeds,
Where is our definitions?
we'll go back to,
But it doesn't, it needs to say,
under nuisances,
the way it reads right now, if you are to take it literally, it means we cannot have any grass, weeds, or brush anywhere in town.
I have a question, is it just, any grass, weeds, or brush found growing in any lot or tract of land in the city that is here by
There-
declared? Just adding that.
there is a 12-inch height on that, weeds and brush.
So we need to add that in that section.
Yeah, that is in there,
Well, it is under
it's- it-
7-4-30.
right? It's in the, yes, it's in the 12-inch, but our problem is the grass.
Yeah.
Because not everybody has a lawn full of weeds and mountain natural grasses. That's why our big thing was to include grass.
Yeah, it's,
In that.
but as that section as it reads, if you were, somebody could argue and say, oh, we can't have any grass.
Have
anywhere
any
because
grass,
it's all
right.
nuisance." That's all I had.
All the changes, no one caught that one, that's pretty good. Cause there's a bunch of changes.
I just had a question, but like on an inoperable vehicle or something.
Yes,
that
yes,
is
sir.
Parked in your yard or on your property, does it still have to have a up-to-date sticker on the plate on the car? Is that how?
No,
that's-
no, that's why we changed the definition of inoperable vehicle. It is possible to go and pay just the tax for a vehicle that may not run. You can get a sticker from the county clerk, put on your vehicle that pays your registration taxes. It's not sufficient to drive that vehicle or operate it on a roadway, but for state purposes, it is registered. So we've encountered some people that go and get those decals. Well, it's on the windshield. We weren't aware of it, so we need to get that included, that is acceptable.
This is different than the sticker on your plate. It's-
That, so you do have to have a current registration in addition, but that registration would override. You have to have the sticker on your plates, current valid registration affixed to your vehicle to operate on a public roadway.
So if it's just sitting in the yard.
This is sitting in the yard, you're not operating on a public road, but you've paid your taxes, the registration taxes. The state considers that a registered vehicle. It's not sufficient, so we needed to include that. We run into a couple that have purchased those. So that's one reason we added that. The vehicle on blocks, missing parts, those still in the absence of a registration, and people throw them on the dash. So we added the word must be properly affixed. So it's visible, you know, from the street, or, you know, we can't see if it's on the back dash.
Which even if they pay the tax, they can leave it there every year looking like junk, you know, nothing we can do.
So there's a fine line. Yeah, and we argued this all the time on an inoperable. If it's obvious on blocks, you know, the front tires are off and it's been, you can do that for 30 days. You've got a 30-day window to have one inoperable vehicle on your property, on a residential property. Our problem is they may not have a registration, so we go contact, well, transmission's out of it. Well, now you've got another issue. Now they've disclosed that to us. You get it registered, you need to make sure we need to see it work. Well, we can't force them to start it, make sure it runs, that it's operable. That's a problem we run into. So we really pushed the registration. It's not on blocks, the tires aren't flat. Yeah, it doesn't have weeds and grass growing around.
No doubt, 30 days, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah. So, and there again, we, code enforcement officer, code compliance officer, police officer, has discretion. If you've got a yard full of trash, 7 days. Sometimes it may take longer to clean that up. So we're not out to write everybody tickets because they've got a mess or they've got an inoperable vehicle. What's it going to take to get that operable? We'll work. You know, we've got some properties in town where they do a little bit here, do a little bit there, and it just drags on. And it's like, you're not making much progress. You're just doing a little bit to repeat. Those are the ones we really want to come down on and force them to make some changes. So.
Good, if you remember when you came on, we had a conversation about do we do code enforcement with a sledgehammer or do we do it with, and when we started this a little over a year ago, I guess, right, Don? Code enforcement.
Almost two.
We asked Don to use kid gloves instead of a sledgehammer. You can use sledgehammer, you're going to be taking everybody to court. They're all going to be sitting here talking to y'all. So, you know, it's something that the community really hasn't had consistently year after year, so. And that was one of the complaints on me, was that I wasn't enforcing the codes. Well, we're enforcing the codes, but we're enforcing them the way council wants them enforced, which is work with people. So that's all we've been told the chief and code enforcement to try to work. You're gonna have people that aren't gonna do it. Okay, fine, then we use the sledgehammer. We're gonna have to go to court, judge is gonna have to determine, but the people that are trying, we're gonna try to work with.
Well, there's some properties out there I've seen that has a vehicle sitting there and the weeds are tired in the vehicle, you know, and it's been there for years and years, and nope, they're not gonna do anything about it. That's when you gotta get out there.
But the weeds can't be over 12
That's right.
inches.
That's right.
I had, two questions. The first one, page 7, section 7-1-230, interference with code compliance officer. It is unlawful for any person to interfere with, molest, hinder, or obstruct the code compliance officer and police officer in the discharge of his or her official duties under this chapter. I'm just curious, has that been an issue for our code compliance officer?
It could be. It could become. When you're talking about people and dealing with ongoing issues, they could get to that point. Same thing, we have it for our animal control officer. Same thing, talking about people's pets and family members that. So yes, I felt it important to include that just in case. It gives a little bit of teeth that you give him a hard time, you could be facing some consequences. So
Has that been problematic at all?
not with him. He's very, very good communicator. and he works with people. He doesn't talk down to people. He works with them and, I haven't got any complaints on Don, so he does have a hard job.
Yes. Agreed. And then my other question. This is the, page. Oh, this is for the section 10-7-70. Entryway is defined. towards the
That's
top.
been added.
But is it referenced anywhere in the?
It is. It was added after your email.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Under H. Under H. Where it talks about lobbies. Restroom lobbies, hallways, entryways, almost to the end. Yeah, tobacco, cigarette, that section.
So my question would be, what does that mean for the casinos? People smoking right outside the entrance.
So the problem we run into in some of these, the distance from one door to another is not sufficient for you to be in the way with one. Just don't want people standing right there at the doors. People are coming, step off to the side, and they do that because that's where the heaters are. And I understand that, but it is, there again, it is enforceable. We wouldn't write someone because you're, like 10 feet from this door and 10 feet from that door and too close. So what do I do?
Say they don't have an option unless they go to the middle of the street.
Right.
We don't want.
Which we don't want, right?
So does that then repeal, I don't know if there's ordinance resolution shortly after the smoking ban? Bruce, you were on council then,
This
it
would,
was changed to 3 feet or 5 feet from the, I can't really remember the exact thing. But we changed it, the state did allow us to reduce the state law 25 feet. So is that line then repealing that 5 foot?
no. That would still be in effect, I believe.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but I do wonder if that would make it inconsistent. You may want to take a look.
As an entryway.
Yeah, just, just double check.
Okay.
Just to make sure that, because my other question, but the mayor had mentioned with the 25 feet, then it would be, you'd be standing in the street at that point. So I think maybe it would just be helpful for us to take a look at that and
Okay.
just make sure that.
Yeah, that was originally why you and Dan, the who's on it, we reduced it because basically we would have to put a smoking section right down the middle of Bennett Avenue.
It seemed like 3 or 5 feet.
It was either 3 or 5 from the, I can't remember the wording. It's not the actual entryway, but it was the face of the building. It's not the recessed entryway, it's the actual, I can't remember the wording, but
We'll find that and look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go forward
yeah.
and then look at it.
This, you can't stand out in the middle of the road, you get run over by a snowplow.
I know, I watched some crazy loader driver all day.
They're busy, busy.
Yes, you did, like rock stars.
I don't want to get into the weeds of all the ordinance or the laws and everything. There was a part of here that mentioned trailers. I just had a question, like an enclosed trailer, like a cargo trailer, I don't know. Can they be parked on the street for as long as they want? I just know of a certain one I've seen that's been on the street for like a couple of months.
As
It's-
long
it's
as
like
it's
a-
not, as long as it's not prohibited by sign or marking, like our 1 AM to 6 areas, residential area, as long as it's there again. That's why we put this in there. Don has a really hard time with some of the trailers in town
Yeah.
that are missing a wheel or,
Well, this one's in good shape, but it's
But,
just been parked.
yeah,
on the
as
side.
long as it's registered, current registration and wheels and is operable. Yeah,
Same with the camper.
Yeah.
too.
same with a camper.
Maybe
They
a
just
a
can't
40
use
foot
it,
RV.
can't they? You aren't allowed to
You
use
can't just use it to
I wanted to mention something. Did Ken talk to you? We have a little bit of conflict on the campers. Because in the development code, it doesn't allow somebody to park a camper to build, they have to have a building permit. To park a camper, and it's only like 30 days. But the way the camping ordinance in here, so we need to get Ken, because I think there's a conflict between the development code and this code on the campers. Because he said if they got a building permit and they're gonna build a house in a garage, and they only built the garage, and the permit's good for 6 months, the campers can be there for 6 months.
As,
And then the
as,
per-
as long as, and I think we included language that there had to be some progress with the building permit,
The
that
building
there
permit is
again.
good for 6 months, and if they do anything at all, they can extend it for another 6 months.
But if their garage is done and they're not doing anything on the house, I mean, that's something we can look
I
at.
think we need to look at the development code and the camping ordinance and talk to Ken. Because he came to my my office, he said, there's an issue here.
That's the first time I've heard of that, so.
I asked him to get in touch with you. So let's look at that before the next.
Yep.
Let's
Okay.
clean that up.
Okay.
And it's a month before it comes back, as opposed, so it'll be the first meeting in March. Roughly the first meeting in March before it comes back. Second, so we still have time to clean ups and talk. You all read it and come up with something else, either get with the chief or me or somebody. Talk to Alicia, see.
Thank you guys for all your
Oh,
work. on this.
Thank you.
It's a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Don, thank you for carrying us off selection.
So do I ask for a vote on this?
I don't know, I'll go ahead and make the motion. I motion that we approve on first reading the approval of ordinance 2024-01.
Vote, please.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Agenda item C, consider approval of proposed paving project for 2024. Steve.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In your packet, you have two maps. The one with all the green background is what we got from Bohannon. Their suggestions on road conditions. I don't necessarily agree with everything they've got, how they've got it, so.
I have one comment on this. Who decided the colors for these?
On the computer, it's fine.
I can't tell red from orange on.
It looks good on the computer. I printed out, it did not.
We're gonna pave a lot of streets this year.
No, no. Yeah, the green, the black, the orange, and they did not come out good on paper. Sorry about that.
Colors on.
I was looking at it on the computer, so it's fine for me. Their suggestions is blacks, which are, they've had stuff done to them recently. So they did not count those into that total dollar amount. Because they think those are null and void. The reds, 4. And a lot of those are going to wind up being a rip out and rebuild because the subgrade is failing. Yellows are fair, and quite a few of those more just cracks, not necessarily an overlay. Green, which is very hard to see, color 1. Stuff on Bennett. That's about it. They're in good condition. Again, if anything's just cracks in. And then the orange, which is city limits coming in on 67, coming down to Golden. I want to We probably don't have enough money to do all of that because it's so wide. I'd like to see what could get done, because that's the first thing most of our visitors are seeing when they come into town. And it's starting to deteriorate pretty good. Last year, our paving budget, and we had to cut it, is Bennett between A and B. They've got it down as poor. I don't agree with that. I think we can get a lot of years with just an overlay on it and state that section. We've done, then we will have Bennett done from 5th to B. Now beyond B, that was trash. But, so the paving suggestion I'm bringing, if you have other ideas, let me know. The entrance to town on 67, fixing Bennett B to A.
Town on 67 at both entrances.
And besides a few potholes, 67 on the Victor isn't that bad. I hit those in the plow truck.
So
Or the loader.
if you didn't do the entrance coming into town, you could probably do quite a few streets in.
And I would have to relook at that.
Let's start looking, there's quite a few in town that probably needs freeing them up. Yeah, region full redo, I know Aspen will do this.
Aspen, it's a rip and relay. Also, something Frank and I talked about with our infrastructure, water and sewer. I did not color those out separately, and Frank has asked me to do that. So like Aspen, Golden over in Old Town, a big chunk of C Street, El Paso, May, those are all getting infrastructure. So we're not gonna throw money at those because they're getting dug up. Me too.
So does Aspen needs more infrastructure, or is it?
It's getting infrastructure, and the base on it is no good.
So it needs more.
It's got a lot of work to try and repair it.
And really, and I keep using the same phrase, stop the bleeding. Some of these streets are gone. Again, they've got to be a total rebuild. That's gonna take a lot of money. Some of these streets are the base we haven't lost. Steve needs to look at a lot of these orange streets. Some of those, the base might be okay, and he might be able to just do an overlay or just take the old asphalt off. The base is still good, and just put a new overlay in. He needs to evaluate those streets that we're not gonna do utility work in. And then he might just, the money's gonna go further. When you start picking these streets that are gone, I mean, you're gonna have to rework the base. You're not gonna get very much done with $400,000. I mean, you can look at the number he's got here. I wanna make sure everybody knows. The total number, not including the streets that are in good shape, is $28,551,232. $400,000 a year, you're never gonna do all the streets in town at 28 million. And that's today's cost. Next year, it'll be more than that. So today's cost is over 28 million to fix all the streets in your town. So two things you need to look at. One, future funding streets. How can we put more money into paving and save the streets that can be saved? And again, that's what I've always said. Stop the bleeding, fix the streets that we can fix, and then worry about the streets, which the people that live on the streets that have failed, it's gonna be a while, but if you don't stop the bleeding and save the streets that can be, they're all gonna turn to fail. And then it's total rebuild on everything.
That's why I was wondering if we didn't do the entrance, if we could fix these streets before it's too late. Someone did tell. Yeah.
Well, the first thing, like I talked to Steve about, the first thing we need to do is go back into the colored streets, mark the ones that we're asking for $10 million in grant funds, grant loans to fix utilities. So identify those streets we know we've applied for, they're being engineered to replace the water and the sewer line. So let's take those streets out, because we know we're gonna tear them up.
So does that grant funding, does that also cover for
Will not
replacing the
repave the
infrastructure?
street.
It will not repave the street.
If-
So we're gonna have to.
If you go into a street that has, asphalt on it, they'll patch the street. They'll patch where they put the line, but they will not, the grant or funds will not. Now, what we could do at that time, once we look at the streets that have those in, then you could come back in and pave over the top of that. Yes. But again, I think you're not gonna go very far if you start picking streets that need total rebuild.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got to replace the base and then, you know, rework the base and then put asphalt down, I think you're not gonna get very much done for 400,000. So, but I do think a lot of these reds, he was even telling me he doesn't agree with all of their coloring because the base is good under them. They just might need a mill or just an overlay. And if we're not doing any utility work, getting those streets with a new overlay, well, your money's gonna go a lot further.
So I mean, yeah, like you said, really, how much can you really get done on that entrance coming in? Because that's a lot.
That's awful wide.
That's a big project.
Yeah, and that would be just a overlay. Mill the edges once you get to Bison, I believe, about where curb and gutter starts. You mill the curb and gutter, but otherwise just an overlay. So that basically that was more aesthetic than anything. For people coming in town, what they see of our town. It is. And I put on here to Golden. I don't think we could get to Golden with it. You know,
Something I just maybe like to throw out for consideration, I understand that that stretch, that's the first thing they see when they come into town. However, looking at the map, you know, when they get to town, they're gonna be walking up and down Bennett, inevitably, at least along the line, so. Doing the A to B, then we've got, A down to Second is fair condition. So if we were to bring those two blocks up to good, then we would have that whole section of Bennett would be green. I mean, if we're looking through the lens of, you know, somebody who's coming into town. Because that's really what they're gonna be noticing.
you mean Bennett down to Second?
Bennett, yeah, what did I say?
A, so you didn't.
I'm sorry, Bennett, my bad, so.
Well, part of Bennett right there at Second was done and it goes west of Second ways because they paved it.
About
They
30
fixed it a little bit. So tying in there and going all the way to B Street. Again, my thoughts are, if you're not gonna do the entrance, get the fairs in good shape. Because you're gonna go, they don't maybe need that much. I don't know what they need to look at the fair to make them good. And, but I don't disagree there. That way those streets are good for 5 to 7 years. Probably shouldn't have to touch them again.
These were done back in 14. When we redid those sections, so it's lasted 10 years.
It's been 10 years.
And
Normally
it's-
up here, it's 5 to 7. You should be doing something.
I mean, if you want to look at mill and overlaying them, it's fine. Those are the sections I'm thinking, they're just cracks. We need cracks. But if you want to look at mill and overlay, I'm good with it.
I'm just thinking the intersection of Second and was it Myers or Masonic right down there, Steve?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah, we
bad area right there.
we've
That-
patched it
that
quite a
whole
few
intersection.
times.
Yeah, I don't know if that's in on this.
It wasn't in the old,
So,
but it's something when you look at. If you got any suggestions, let me know. I'll rework it.
that might be one of the
Second,
Second and Masonic or Myers.
I just think you have to look and see
Yeah, it's where they split right there.
where it's at in the orange. If the base is starting to fail, I think we're wasting money.
yes,
You know,
Definitely.
if you see alligatoring, you know what alligatoring is? If you're seeing alligatoring on the asphalt, you've lost your base. It's my history. So there's, unless you can rework the base, you're.
I don't think there's much out there. Do you? I don't know.
no, I just, over the years keep sinking around them
Yeah,
valves for some
yeah,
reason.
The valves and
Yeah.
it's just-
I don't even know when that line was put in, but. So,
I mean, what we need to do is he needs direction because going out for bid now is where we need to be. He's gotta come back to council and the sooner we can award the bids, we get on their plan for the summer. Cause sometimes what's happens is you get late and they stick you at the end and
Look it up.
September.
B Street, we had to wait on pavement.
September, October, and then it gets cold and they can't pave, and so then you're off another year.
Maybe instead of for the entrance, maybe you start at Bison, instead of going around the corner of Bison. Maybe that would help do a couple more things like the. Yeah, to start where your curb and gutter starts at Bison on the entrance and 67.
And come down into
Come
town.
down To Golden, if you make it to Golden, or maybe not, just to maybe save to do a couple more things like he's talking about.
Well, the other thing you can do is do alternate bids. You know, we don't know what it's gonna cost. That's what we did last year. He put in alternate bids, and once we got the bids in, we did some alternates, and you can drop those off, till you get down to where you.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
400,000 doesn't go real far, so.
I would say get alternate bids, but I mean, you have a very good judgment of what needs to be done too.
And if you're not worried about the aesthetics of coming into town, I'll bring you a new map. 2 weeks.
I think the aesthetics.
Can we have better colors on that map?
Aesthetics, Steve, aesthetics.
So,
Why doesn't he get bids on Bison into Golden? I still think we need to do that section of Bennett. Yeah, A to B, that we put that off, and that needs,
yeah, that one, we can save that one still.
you could, get alternate bids on the rest of Bennett. I still think the section of Carr, that yellow, that's in front of the post office. Right?
Mhm.
I think taking that to good, there's a lot of traffic right there between Carr and on Carr between B and C,
That's another one. We're not losing it. We're,
crack seal.
crack sealing. We got a few potholes in there, more crack sealing than anything.
Then get an alternate bid for crack seal.
Well, we've actually got the machine. We just haven't had the manpower. So,
Bennett's our problem too. It's needed crack seal, but we haven't got to it. So I think if you put it in the bid, they crack seal it. We get it done. I know you have the machine, but we haven't got the personnel or time to do it. So, and you can always take it out. You can bid it for them to crack seal it. And if you get time, we just don't, we back it out.
okay.
So just a question on the section from A to B. Were you looking at doing the whole street, or I know that one section, like somebody said, you got straddled, whatever the line went up through there. Is that you're looking at, or you can do the whole?
Gutter to gutter. Starting on the
Then you're finished.
east side of A Street. That's where we left off.
Is that all?
That's gonna be an overlay. Mill on overlay.
It gives you options. He's gonna have to get bids and he'll be coming back to award. So then council can decide, yeah, well, that's costing us too much to do Bison, so let's do this other or whatever.
It's like you said, time is of the essence. Is this something you're gonna try to get this summer?
Yes.
So like, pavement is. Who knows?
I mean, I'd like for him to go ahead and get the bids out. He can redo the maps and then come back to the maps, but if he could get the bids and some alternates, you're gonna have to award the bid anyway, so you're gonna see it before we go forward, but we need to get on their schedule.
Maybe you get a bid for crack sealing for the portion of Bennett too. That you said that we could probably do crack sealing. I mean, it wouldn't hurt to get a bid on that too.
Okay. I can set it up as one section for crack sealing, and one section for mill and overlay, or just overlay.
Yeah, I like the areas.
Not sure how to work this.
Yeah, it's. We just, we give Steve direction to put it out the bid.
Yes.
Is that pretty much? So.
You want me to make it?
Yes.
I'll make the motion if you want. I motion that we allow Steve to move forward and seek out bids for crack seal and mill and overlay.
I'll second.
Vote please. Councilman Bob?
Yes.
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 Yes,
Thank you, council and mayor.
thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be moving forward on this.
Steve.
Adjourn.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks, Alicia.
What?